Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. And on the show tonight, we'll be talking about the NFF elections. The good news is the fact that the Court of Appeal has decided that the elections will go ahead. So tomorrow in Benin City, Edo State, we will be having the Nigeria Football Federation's presidential elections. Of course, it's going to be during their elective Congress because FIFA officials are already in Benin City, Edo State, where the elections will be taking place. Also, we'll touch down on Formula One Singapore Grand Prix. Remember, this weekend, a champion might just be crowned. Of course, Max Verstappen is the guy for that. And also, we'll talk about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, the bout, December bout that has been going on. The deadline, of course, is now tonight. It's giving him the deadline to see if he's going to sign. Talking about Tyson Fury, giving the deadline to Anthony Joshua to sign that deal. Also, we will be talking about those that will be going to Qatar 2022 World Cup. They don't actually need to be vaccinated to be right there. All they need is just a negative test of COVID-19 for them to travel down to Qatar. But then there's likely going to be a bubble, so you have to obey all the health and safety protocols that will be put in place by the organizers. Of course, Austin Okonakpa is in London.
Everyone joining us to talk sports tonight. Always a delight to be on the show. Tyson Fury giving us drama before we get to see a fight with him and Anthony Joshua. I don't know what's going on. He's proving that he's the guy to fight in heavyweight boxing. So he's got the bragging rights. Cecilia is ordering Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, and everyone connected with Anthony Joshua is ordering them around because he believes he's doing them a favor to, have that fight. We'll talk about it extensively on the show. Good news for fans who are willing to go to Qatar for the World Cup. Vaccination not required, but hey, there are guidelines, rules, and regulations that you need to follow so you can actually stay in Qatar safe and sound. So, when we get into the NFF elections, we'll also talk about it, but I'm sure we're going to have fun talking some boxing on the show tonight, Cecilia.
Obviously, we're going to have fun. Of course, we're starting with the boxing, obviously, simply because of what's currently going on now. It's supposed to be, today is the deadline, right? Tyson Fury had to okay, you know what? It's 60-40. That's the first half given. And you guys did not sign when it was Tuesday deadline. And now I'm giving you another opportunity. Tonight will be the deadline. Now, the whole issue, Austin, I mean, you understand this better because this is a fight according to Tyson Fury, or British actually wants. I don't want that fight for Anthony Joshua because of the back-to-back losses. I mean, that time will be very devastating for him, no matter how strong he is mentally. But then, right now, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, this particular bout, what's currently going on? Deadline, no deadline?
It's a lot, it's a lot happening behind the scenes. Cecilia, I think we should have this fight. I believe it's a super global heavyweight fight, because it's Anthony Joshua, it's Tyson Fury. I know you want to see the unification bout, but you six should just chill. We want to know who is the king of the Britannia. But I don't know what Tyson Fury really wants. Is making demands here and there, and to an extent, I think is becoming unserious about this fight. Let's see what's going to happen by the end of today. If Eddie Hearn will meet the demands that he has asked for and then sign that contract, I think Anthony Joshua needs this fight more than ever before. I think it's his final redemption song. And they should be ready to sing it, Cecilia.
Redemption song. Okay, we can't wait for that to really happen. But Bolu Omoni is also on the program tonight. Of course, we're talking about the NFF elections. He knows so much about that. There's also the Tyson Fury. But Bolu, it's nice to actually have you on the show tonight.
Yeah, good to be again with the everly beautiful Cecilia Morbe. Well, I don't know what Austin is thinking. Every time it's about Joshua and Fury, I keep dragging Austin. I don't want to see the fight. I've been saying it for a very long time. I love AJ too much to see him take on Tyson Fury. But I think I agree to an extent with Austin that Fury is not the one that needs it. AJ needs it more than Fury because this is probably his best chance to get in the belt. If he's waiting the other route, he'll probably have to wait for 3-4 places before having a title fight. But this is his best chance. My prediction, the fight will not happen. Then when Fury decides to retire finally, maybe Wilder and AJ can fight it out for that one. I think AJ has what it takes against Wilder. But against the Gypsy King, nah, not today.
He can't, because, he's not up to that. Okay, you know what, Austin, we're going to take a quote coming from Tyson Fury talking about how his promoter has been trying as much as possible to convince Queensberry to carry out that negotiation. He's been talking about this week what the team has been doing. If you can take a look at that, what Tyson Fury, WBC heavyweight champion, what he's saying about that. He says that my promoter Frank Warren convinced me to let Queensberry carry on negotiation with your team this week, despite me knowing that you were never going to do this fight. Went ahead to say that you have had this contract for 2 weeks now. My team have got everything done with the broadcasters, ticket, venue, everything is ready to go. You have had 14 days. Pull your finger out and make this fight happen for the British boxing public. That's according to Tyson Fury. I mean, when you hear this, so it simply means that, yes, he's ready. He feels the camp from Anthony Joshua, the one dragging. And then coming from Eddie Hearn, I mean, Eddie Hearn had a lot to say concerning this one also. Eddie Hearn went further to say that, firstly, when we agreed our terms for the fight, it took us over a week to receive a draft contract. We have not had the contract for 14 days, okay? I'm not sure why Tyson Fury keeps setting unrealistic deadlines while also offering the fight to a number of other heavyweights for the selected dates. If he's serious about the fight being made, I suggest he allows Matchroom and Queensberry to keep working hard to make the fight, of which everyone has been trying hard to do. The whole confusion here, Tyson Fury feels, okay, you know what, I'm ready. Why you say, look, I haven't had it for 14 days. Austin, wrap this up for us. What is going on?
I think it's just, you know, the regular shenanigans you get before you get a big fight on the table. If you listen to what Eddie Hearn talked about, you could tell that they want the fight too. Tyson Fury on his part, I'm sure he wants some things that is given to them that they are not coming out to say to us, because he knows he's got everything on the line. That WBC belt is prestigious, and giving Anthony Joshua a chance to have a go at the belt, I think Tyson Fury is even doing him a favor. But don't push them around, because Eddie Hearn is getting tired. We say this today, we hear another thing tomorrow. We're talking to you, and we're finding out you're also talking to other heavyweights to see if they can also have the fight. But he knows fighting Anthony Joshua will bring more money to the table, and that's what he wants. But I think it's mind games, Cecilia, at this point. That's what I can tell, because if you say the broadcasters are ready, your promotion team, they're ready, Eddie Hearn says he's ready, Anthony Joshua has said it from the very first day that Tyson Fury called him out that, look, don't play with us. Don't use us to catch, to get any form of clout. If you're ready, let's sit down and sign this, because that's all Anthony Joshua can do. Fight his way into relevance and prominence again. But with this guy, you need to be ready to start fighting right from when a deal is made till you get into the boxing ring, and then you come out. You'll be fighting Tyson Fury all the way, because he's got some good mouth.
Yeah, he's got some good mouth. Bolu, you're smiling, you're smiling and laughing, when you talk about the good mouth. Why are you smiling?
You don't just call him the Gypsy King. Yeah? He tries everything he can to win both on and off the court. Most boxers are good with their mouth, but some are good. Tyson Fury is great with his mouth. He knows how to crack jokes. Sometimes even when he's hitting at you with his words, he's still cracking jokes. But I think he's beyond the fight. He wants the money more, because this is probably going to be the biggest in terms of financial benefit for boxing ever. Biggest British boxers of all time, and he's looking at 60% of the 100. So it's more like financial for him, but more of the belt for Anthony Joshua, because like I said earlier, this is his best chance of getting a belt back. Look at Wilder, who lost before him. He had like 4 rounds before getting the chance to face Usyk. I think it's going to be the same thing for AJ. Now you have probably the biggest option. Just fighting if you can win the fight. Now, his best chance of even getting back to relevance, like Austin said, is winning this fight. If he wins at Tyson Fury, those who don't care about AJ, many insults would definitely change their draft. So the question is, will this fight happen? I don't want it, but again, if the fight still happens, it's good for all boxing fans. You definitely get to watch a good fight, even though I don't think it may end up being a good fight.
I want Anthony Joshua to have one fight before he can fight Tyson Fury. Back-to-back defeats Tyson Fury. I don't want to see that happening. I know Austin wants to see it. Yes, all British, everyone wants to see it.
No, but
I don't want to see it right now.
Cecilia, what happens if you give Anthony Joshua another chance and then he doesn't win? That doesn't do any good to his reputation. That is already battered.
So that's why you have to stay
He's
on
wounded. Listen, fighting Tyson Fury and maybe, just maybe, beating Fury we shoot Anthony Joshua back to the top.
Yes.
But we know Fury and everything he has done about this deal. Today we're hearing he wants to fight Manuel Cha. I also know from my sources that he's talking to Derek Chisora's camp for a fight because Chisora, met him up and was saying, look, why are you running away from fighting me? But that's not the fight we want to see in the UK. We want to know who the king of the Britannia is, and that's what Tyson Fury talked about when he called out Anthony Joshua. He said, let's give the fans in the UK this fight before I go elsewhere to see what I can do. But if he wants to fight Manuel Cha, let him go and fight Manuel Cha and don't stress Anthony Joshua because he's got so much on his mind. Yeah. He's still trying to recover from that defeat to Alexander Usyk. Precisely. I know it will do more damage if he doesn't, win his next fight, but it doesn't come as big as fighting Tyson Fury, who is arguably the best heavyweight boxer in the world now. Now, try and imagine if Anthony Joshua beats him. Let's leave it there.
Okay, that would be great, right? All right, we're leaving it there and quickly talk about the FIFA World Cup, November, December. Yes, Nigeria will not be going, Super Eagles will not be there, but we'll be giving you updates of what's currently going on. Right now, the organizers have said that, look, those are coming. All they need is just negative test. You don't have to have your vaccination card. So you don't have to be vaccinated to be there. So people like Novak Djokovic, for instance, who don't want to do it, they'll have the opportunity to like, okay, I can actually go here. So I don't know if this is good news or bad news for millions of fans that will be in Qatar, because there's likely going to be the fact that players and match officials may be forced into a secure bio bubble if COVID-19 cases had to take off again. That's what they're thinking. But then they're saying that, look, if anyone violates that particular bubble that they will be in, it simply means they've breached the secure environment. And of course, the health ministry is saying that because of this, those people will be expelled from that bubble. But another thing is that, remember, this is actually the first tournament they will be hosting that will have fans since, the outbreak. I'm talking about big tournament because Tokyo didn't allow fans to go in. But then the use of masks will be mandatory both inside the stadium, of course, when you're entering boxes and all that. But this one coming this way, where most countries will have to require you to be vaccinated before you enter their country. But Qatar is saying that, look, all you need is just a negative test before flights to Qatar for the tournament that will be starting November 20th. I don't know, Bolu, I don't know if this is good for the fans or good for the organizers, or who is this good for? I
think it's because they've had lots of criticisms about some of the rules of the state, like PDA could be a crime, you could be arrested. If you do this, you could be in trouble if you go here. So I think this is more like appealing to the fan. Okay, so long as you have a negative test, you can come and still join. So now there are many people saying, I guess I'll just have to sit back. I can't go to jail because I'm this, I can't go. So it's more like, okay, this is a good chance because not everyone has gotten their vaccinations. Some are saying, like you rightly mentioned, Djokovic, I'm not taking. But now, so long as I return the negative test, okay, I can still decide to go. It's more like a win-win for them because as much as it is, you need to you need fans to get the money you've spent to build stadiums, to prepare well for this tournament. So I think it's more like a win-win for everybody. But again, like you rightly said, the players will have to be more cautious, both players and officials of each nation, because if you get contracted by the COVID-19, there could be more problems. So I think the bubble may be stricter than we thought it could be.
Yeah, that's Austin. I mean, this one would just be like, how do I put it now? I mean, the Qatar, the organizers are trying to say that the word have actually gone past what happened in 2019. They're trying to make this a breath of fresh air to know that, yes, we are done with this COVID-19 thing. We are entering into a new world, more like the light at the end of the tunnel. That's what they're trying to project with this one. Is this really a good thing for the fans and also for the players and coaches and the officials that will be there in Qatar?
I think it's good for everyone, Cecilia, because what's football without the fans? You know what I'm saying? I was at the Russia 2018 World Cup, and I know what the fans did to that, football tournament. Just when the FIFA introduced the fan ID stuff, and so a lot of people had an opportunity to come to Russia, see arguably the world's biggest, competition. So Qatar would have checked it, and don't forget they spent a lot of money. Yeah. And when you're hosting this sort of competition, and you're having at the back of your mind that fans won't be around, you're already feeling like you're losing. So they must have found a way to, make sure safety is in place, because that's very important. You mentioned the bubble. If anything goes wrong, we start talking. But I think most importantly, the world is trying to move away from COVID-19, you know, but there's some, you know, subconscious awareness that it's still around the corner. Everyone needs to be safe. You need to follow guidance. You know, you need to, you know, be responsible. You know, make sure you do those things that you need to do to stay safe. So for me, covering sports, I've said it over and over again that it's drab without the fans. I mean, I went to the stadium when, you know, the English Premier League was played during the lockdown and everything. It was never the same. You know, you could hear the ball boy cry, you know, if he's crying, because, I mean, it's empty. You know, we didn't even see the best of the players because no fans to cheer them. We know what the 11th man does, the 12th man does on the pitch when football is being played. So Qatar will gain from this because, of course, Cecilia, they're thinking money. You know, when you bring people to your event, it's money. When you see one single person travel from one part of the world to another, flight tickets, hotel accommodation, feeding, you know, tourism, going around, it's money. So they just have to come out and say this, that, look, don't let anything discourage you. If you're not vaccinated, come, or we'll just teach you how to stay safe. So I think it's a fantastic win for not just Qatar, but for football fans, the players, the coaches, and of course, us in the media.
Okay, that's a fantastic one, really, especially us in the media. But the angle I'm looking at it from is the fact that you're having millions. I mean, because that's the projection. They said more than a million people will be coming to Qatar, and they don't need to be vaccinated. So if you're looking at it from that angle, I feel it's a bit risky. Because if those countries are insisting you have to be vaccinated before you get to our country, and then you're having the biggest, I mean, there's nothing bigger than the World Cup. The Olympics, yes, but the World Cup, I mean, how many countries are coming in, and then millions of fans more than a million fans are coming in, and then you say, okay, you know what, you don't have to be vaccinated, you can just come in.
Well, remember months ago,
it's a bit risky.
They already said their hotels are booked. They have to look for tents for people in the desert. So it means in terms of fans, it's certain that people will troop in. But to an extent, I have to agree with you because we've had maybe one or two, I would have said fraudulent results for tests. Even the same thing with vaccination card. Like Austin rightly said, just about everyone playing their part. Everyone has to be careful. You have to be cautious. Yes, we know we are moving past it, but it's not 100% gone. It's not 100% clean. So even at that, you just have to play your cards right. We may think, well, what do we need face masks for if you have returned the negative test? But just follow the law. Obey and be safe and care, because nobody wants any COVID-19 outbreak during the World Cup. Nobody wants that. Like Austin rightly said, we've had tournaments without the fans, and it felt like, okay, let's just watch something. The sound, they had to, at some point in the Premier League, they had to use stadium ambience. That let even fans at home listen to something. So for the risk, I think if everyone played their part well, if they say don't go here, don't go. Don't get too close to the players. Let the players. If you don't snap pictures with the players here, go and meet them at their club. You side with the players. So I believe everyone played their part. In a month, the World Cup will be over. Then everybody go back to their club and enjoy their club football.
Okay, so once you are age over 6 years and above and you have a negative test, you can just, you know, that's all you need to get into Qatar. But we're going to, I don't know how many people will be going from Nigeria simply because Super Eagles are not there. But fans obviously want to enjoy a whole lot because, yes, it's expensive. I mean, from what we've heard from the projection, it's going to be one of the most expensive World Cup ever. People were thinking Russia spent so much, but Qatar has spent twice more than, I mean, double the amount. I mean, preparations and everything, trying to make everything possible. And that's why they're saying when you're coming, just make sure you have the money. That's about, I mean, projection is about you have to have at least £3,000 when you're coming into Qatar. That's what it's like because accommodation, everything, you're going to spend so much money. But we need to go on a break. When we come back, of course, the NFF elections will get our attention. Welcome back. Of course, the NFF elections, it's going to get our attention right now. Yes, yesterday, just Wednesday night, yes, we were talking about the fact that, yes, coming from the sports ministry, they just want them to obey the rule of the law, the court injunction and everything. But this morning, the NFF, you know, there was an appeal that was made. And then from the Court of Appeal, it's decided that the elections can actually go ahead. So from all indications, barring no surprises tonight, we'll be having the Nigeria Football Federation's elections in Benin City 30th, because according to release from the Nigerian Football Federation, the FIFA officials that will be witnessing the elections, they're already in Benin City. So we have 10 candidates already. I mean, one has pulled out, Amazing Chegbulem has pulled out of the elections. But right now, the news is the fact that we will be having NFF elections. So Austin, I mean, yes, it's drama series and all. I'm afraid if this will generate something else, yes, the Court of Appeal has actually agreed that they can go ahead with the elections. But what the ministry was saying yesterday was different from what happened this morning. I'm trying to understand the whole perspective.
It's difficult. You will never get to understand what's going on, you know, unless you are a major player, unless you're inside, unless we have sincere football administrators in Nigeria, unless we have people who keep away selfish interests and just, you know, administer football for the love of the game. But let's be thankful where we are with this situation. It's going to be the 78th Annual General Assembly of the Nigeria Football Federation, and the major objective of that Annual General Congress is to, you know, bring in a new president for the Nigeria Football Federation. I think we will not see drama. What happened today is that the Court of Appeal ordered a stay of execution to that ex parte injunction that was signed by Harrison Jala and his team. And so, because the Court of Appeal is bigger than the High Court where the ex parte injunction is coming from, it has now paved way for us to have an election. But Cecilia, you're right. We'll wait and see until tomorrow if there's going to be any upcoming drama, because we've seen enough drama from the moment that this date was fixed for the election. Some people are still aggrieved. Some people believe we're not doing the right thing with our football, that there's some aspects of the statutes of the Nigeria Football Federation that needs to be adjusted to, you know, be fair on some other people. Some have called for a larger house in terms of voting. So much going on in Nigeria football, but it will be good if they don't disrupt the process, because now we've got visitors in the country. FIFA officials are already in Benin City and they are pumped up and they are looking forward to the election. So, Bolu, hopefully we're going to have an election tomorrow. Should we be hopeful?
Well, I've been hopeful just as you are. Since the day was mentioned, it's always been about hope, because we've seen stranger things. I remember the first Pinnick election 8 years ago, lots of drama, but the election went down. One of the things I ask myself is, you know, when they say, are you for us or you're against us? That's one thing I keep asking the sport ministry. Are you for us or you're against us? Because almost every federation election that there's been chaos. The minister has been involved one way or the other. But at least as of now, like you rightly said, we know the election is happening. Bar any surprises later tonight or tomorrow morning. I'm just a bit worried the Congress is before the election. I would have do the election first. No, then every disagreement you want to do in Congress, do it after. Because they won't start Congress and some will come up with one ruling and say, okay, this, and that. But again, like we said, the election is happening as of now. One person has pulled out. But my take is still, it's going to be either one of those that we know, or maybe FA, because I say it all the time, it's easier for an ex-international to become president of Nigeria than the NFF president. So long we still have these statutes that we have, until it's been changed and there are equal opportunities for everybody, it will be difficult for them. But whatever happens, we just want an election. We just want a new board member or board members. We want a new president. And let's move on from there, because sometimes we can start going back to Pinnick didn't do this, how much you Pinnick, but now the tenure is ending tomorrow. We have to find a way to move on. Yes, as much as we disagree with many things this board has done, they've done some good as well. We have to look out for that. So now let's build on the good things they've done, starting from tomorrow, or at worst, from the 1st of October, Independence Day fun. Then from there, the new board get on board, get to work immediately. And whoever will win, we remember everything they said, though. So don't tell us, I didn't say, we have tape for everything. So when you start your works, don't start telling us that it's because the last board didn't do this. No. Move on, find the solution. So hopefully we get someone that's worth it, someone that has the heart of the players at heart, someone who cares about grassroots sports, because everybody campaigns about grassroots. But when they get to office, the grass is never greener. So hopefully everything works well tomorrow.
Hopefully. I mean, according to the senior advocate of Nigeria, that's the chairman, NFF Electoral Committee, talking about Malik Aikunegbe. He had something to say concerning this. That's the reason why the elections are going ahead. I remember when the minister met with all of them, I'm talking about the presidential candidates, they mentioned that is the NFF Electoral Committee chairperson that will decide what's going to happen. And of course, there you have it. He says, when he talked about some minutes ago, my attention was drawn to an enrolled order of the Court of Appeal, Abuja Division, staying the restraining parties to maintain the status quo order of the Federal High Court duly served on the NFF. I have taken it a step further by personally confirming the making and existence of this order. With this development, all legal hurdles militating against the holding of the September 30th, 2022 election have been dismantled. So when you hear this, it simply means going on. Accordingly, I'm pleased to announce that the Electoral Committee is now on a strong legal wicket to proceed with the conduct of the election tomorrow, Friday, September 30th, 2022, at the ancient city of Benin City, Edo State. I assure everyone that the committee will deliver on its mandate of organizing a credible, democratic, free and fair election that we all will be exceedingly proud of. That's according to Akunegbe Malik, a senior advocate of Nigeria, the chairman of NFF Electoral Committee. Now, when you hear this and you listen to him and then you discover that, yes, according to him, there will be no legal wickets. So everything is successful. With this, yes, we can go ahead. But we don't know what's going to happen overnight, as I mentioned, because you never can predict. There's always a drama when it comes to Nigeria Football Federation elections. So if we have all this put in place, and the ministry said earlier, before the Court of Appeal, except there's another appeal. I don't know if you understand the legal terms. I'm not a lawyer, but if they had to go to Supreme Court overnight, if it's a possibility, then something may happen. But for now, elections will be held, right?
Well, normally when it's time to do A, they say the court doesn't open this time. But when it's time to twist it the other, the court will always open. But there's confidence from what he's saying. You could hear facts according to him. You can hear huge confidence that one thing you can pick from everything is no matter what happens, nothing is changing the election tomorrow. It is going to happen tomorrow. If you notice, they mentioned 30th September like 2-3 times in the statement. So that's huge confidence. And the fact that the chairman of the committee, so he knows what he's saying. So for now, we can be rest assured, we can be confident that the election is coming tomorrow. I just don't want any. If you have any problems, at least let's have the election first. So any issue you have, you can take it later, because if the election doesn't hold tomorrow, the problems could be more than we see. There people are asking, will PINI continue? Remember, at a point, they asked for 6 months extra, or the GenSec, who by law is supposed to be in charge on an interim basis. So to avoid all the drama back and forth, let's have our election. People will tell you, I love footballing, and that's why, no, if you have the sport at heart, if you love the, let the election hold. Don't go to any court issue you have, at least let's sort the election. So for now, I think I want to believe the chairman of the electoral committee that the election will hold tomorrow. You know, it's a breath of fresh air, because as at Wednesday yesterday, I was still a bit worried that, so this election will not hold again. When is it going to come? What happens to the power? What happens to those in charge? We'll, remember, the board is still part of the NFF, first vice president and president. But second vice president is a different seat entirely. So many questions. But after this statement, you can be saying, okay, yeah, the election is happening. We are having a new board. So please, I'm begging, let's continue with this feeling.
Nothing should happen overnight.
This time tomorrow, at least we should be sure that A, B, and C are the board members. This is the president. This is the first vice president. And we can look forward to having a better future in Nigeria. For our women are making us proud. Hopefully, after this new tenure, the boys will also get back to their glory days.
Hopefully, on the 23 team are supposed to open camp, right? Austin, I mean, do you have that same confidence that Bolu is having? Bolu is having a lot. I mean, he is so confident right now. I haven't listened to Malay. I mean, he feels, okay, this is going to be a possibility. I mean, are you confident, or you're still very not?
I think that's the least we can do. That's also the least Bolu can do. You know, be confident that we're going to have a stable football administrative process. I just want to, you know, charge the chairman of the electoral committee to stand by his words. He has promised that they're going to deliver a credible, democratic, free and fair elections. That's what is important now, guys, at this point, because you don't want people to become aggrieved about the process or start talking about it not being transparent or democratic. So he has promised, and those are very strong words, and he said he's going to give us an election that we're going to be proud of. So let's hold him by his words, and and hope that it comes to pass. So pictures are right there of the presidential aspirants for the Nigeria Football Federation state, about 10 of them now. So if Cecilia, it will be important for us to show our viewers once again the list of those who have been cleared to contest for the position of president of the Nigeria Football Federation.
Yeah, definitely. We have the list of those that will be competing for the post of the president. We have Barrister Sheyi Akiwumi, who happens to be the Nigerian Football Federation first vice president. Shehu Diko, LMC chairman. Okay, LMC is no, there's no more LMC, right? Okay. The second, NFL second vice president is also there. Ibrahim Gusso, chairman, of course, he's also competing. Sulaiman Yahaya Konde is also there. You have Barrister Musa Ahmad, the former Secretary General. Christian Emeruwa is also part of the presidential candidates. Adam Mohammed is also there. Peter Said Ida, and of course, we know him very well, the former international. That is only, I think he's the only one there. He's a former player that played for the Super Eagles. Abayola is also there. You also have David Buhari. Doherty is based in the UK. I don't know how much people know about him, but these are the candidates for you that will be contesting for the outside the president of Nigeria. I mean, the most sought after seat happens to be the NFL, because you know what football does for us in the country, Austin. Yes, that's what football can do.
Cecilia, you might just be wrong right there, because I've seen people fight to be president of the Judo Federation. We've seen people fight to be president of Rugby Federation. So this drama is not just from football. I think it's sports generally in Nigeria. I remember covering the elections in 2017 at the Abuja National Stadium. They were exchanging blows. No, I'm not joking. As in, they were exchanging blows. You saw the drama that happened with Badminton Federation of Nigeria. And it beats me, because when people fight for these positions and then get into that position and do absolutely nothing, it beats me so bad, because they get in there and they start complaining, oh, no funding, oh, no infrastructure. I mean, show us the same zeal that you showed when you were trying to get into that office. If you speak it, then go in there and do it.
Yeah, I think Bolo said something that I'm going to take away. He said if they really want, I mean, the good of the sport at heart, I mean, they won't be fighting, because everyone can actually come together and contribute. Austin, basketball, for instance, I mean, the FIBA Women's World Cup is currently going on. Nigeria is actually not there, simply because of this infighting. And
nobody has come out to say sorry. No one has been accountable. No one is responsible. That tells you the story. So they don't have the good of the sport. I mean, according to them, they're not the ones who are supposed to play. So it's the players now. The players, the ladies struggled, you know, gave their sweat and blood to qualify, and some selfish administrators have done this, and now they are now at the World Cup. It's sad.
It is really. But look, that's a question I'm going to pose to you, which concerns, I mean, if not for selfishness, I mean, you mentioned something like everyone can actually come together and build, because you can actually be a part of it. Now, I don't really know what, the first court, the Harrison Jalas of this world, I mean, what they are trying to achieve by this, because if they're really selfless, I mean, this is election. You want to be a part of it, fine. Something happened, it didn't happen. Okay, fine, why not wait? After the elections, you can actually table what you want. These are the things we want, and see how everyone can be a part of it. And another thing is, if they had actually tabled what they wanted before this Amaju Pinnick board, before the elections, why was it not accepted? These are the issues that
so
that
many
really
questions
don't understand.
to be asked. The basketball thing you said, immediately I saw the Mali players fighting. I wasn't thinking about them. I was thinking about Nigeria. In my mind, I was like, no, be una fault.
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't think Nigeria would have been that embarrassing at the tournament.
They got a free ticket, so they can settle.
It just shows how poor we are in terms of admission. The question you ask is, all these 10 candidates, all of them spoke about grassroots. If I can ask all of them, now, what have you all done in terms of grassroots? For those that are maybe state FA chairman, what were you doing when you were a state FA chairman? If you were in charge of ABC, what were you doing? Because your antecedents sometimes will show. Let's see the result. If you've ever written and Pinnick's board said, no, we are not doing, give us, let us see. Because it's easy to come out and start planning a month to the election. This is what I want to do. But what have you been doing? You cannot tell me you've never done anything for Nigerian sports. and you suddenly want to become the president, something has to push you. Maybe what you do and A, B, C are not doing it well. Okay, let me get into correct. And if you don't get into the board, like you said, Sisi, you can still tender what you want. It's just about proposal and convincing them, okay, I have this. Can we work together to make? I don't think there will be any president that you will tell this is going to help the sport and they will boldly tell you no for no reason. If they are telling you now to be, there has to be a legit reason. And sometimes we don't even need the government to do the right things. We've seen people organizing events on their own,
yes,
both football and outside football. You can, when you do these things right, believe me, government will come in and want to sponsor them. So I believe everybody played their part. I can't remember his name. I think he's the first, he's the vice president of International Table Tennis Federation in Nigeria. He was not even a board member in Nigeria when he got the call. Because of his influence. I saw a table tennis game in Lagos when Aruna Kodri won. Aruna Kodri left the governor, he left the chairman or the president of the federation and went to give him a big hug for his impact. He was not the president. So it means you can make impact. So if you don't, let's see what happens to some of the 9 others that will lose the election. We'll see how quiet many of them will be after the election. It shows everyone just wants that position. I'm the president, because as the president of Nigeria Football Federation, you can travel to, if not everywhere around the world, FIFA, bonus, this one up and so. Is that what we want, or we really want to do? You know, I'm waiting for the president we will have. That the next election, if he says I'm not running, we will be the ones begging, please, just run because of what you've done. Have we had that in a while? I don't think so.
Austin, I mean, I think this will definitely get us talking. I mean, you want a president that at the end of the day can say, oh, you know what, why not just continue with your position? Is that even possible? Looking at the 10 candidates, yes, almost all of them, except the last one, hasn't been with the NFF for a while. Because, okay, either Peter's side, yes, you can say, apart from being Super Eagles media officer at a point, there was really nothing else. Let's take out either Peter's side. Let's take out Buhari Doherty. Then take a look at the other 8 candidates. They've all been with the Nigeria Football Federation for so many years, and they want to be president. I mean, we see something remarkable really happening. As Bolo has mentioned, grassroots development, really paying attention, not lip service. And women's football, of course, I always advocate for that. Not lip service, not just saying it, but doing it and doing the right thing.
I think first thing first, Cecilia Bolu and everyone that loves football in Nigeria, we should pray for a reformer. We need someone that can reform football in Nigeria. I don't care if they've been with the NFF forever. They should purge themselves of whatever has happened in the past and start a new era for the development of football in Nigeria. We just need to go back in the day and see Nigeria was respected and we're doing so well. What has happened to us now? The Super Falcons can't win the WAFCON anymore. The Super Eagles can't qualify for the World Cup. We're not being feared or respected again in Africa. There's just so much. And this is football that binds and brings the country together. So whoever is coming in should reflect. Take a look at our football and say, how can I turn things around? That's the man that I hope that the Congress will vote for tomorrow.
All right, we need to actually set the agenda right here because we need to do things right. We want our football to be top-notch, I mean, where you don't have to complain, coaches haven't been paid, the players haven't been paid, allowances, teams are not coming to camp. I'm tired of all the stories because it's heartbreaking, really, when you hear stories from some of these players and you're wondering, and we have administrators.
Of how Segun Degbami literally rejected Tottenham Hotspur decades ago. I don't think any Nigerian player, APFL player now will reject even Ghana. It shows how far we have gone behind. We couldn't have left from that level we were. Many of our Super Eagles players were home-based players. If you're a foreign-based player, you are more like a stranger in the squad. It means our league was there. Growing up, I know what our parents were saying.
You will struggle to get a shirt. You will struggle. you will need to fight. Nobody's respecting you because you're coming from a place of prominence or importance. Back in the day, it was about the football. So we need to look inwards. And that's why I'm praying that we get a reformer, one that will get on board and then take a look at the environment and say, how can we change it? Work with the 10-year development master plan because we've seen a lot of development tied around that document. I just pray it doesn't end up in the bin.
Yes, of course, funding is also important. The right funds when it comes in early and is judiciously used. And of course, when you're doing your marketing project, you're not just marketing the elite sport, the elite football. When I mean elite, I'm talking about the Super Eagles. But it seems what we've seen over the years is, I mean, the marketing is all about the Super Eagles. That's the brand they're selling. You forget that you have the under 23, you have the under 20, you even have the women's football. So all eyes are usually in the Super Eagles. So the Super Eagles are signing a deal with airline company in Nigeria. It's only the Super Eagles who fly that. And of course, even the senior women's team can't even use that same flight. So you're asking yourself, what are you guys doing with the marketing? I think that's also another aspect that should be, is all football federation. So, I mean, whoever is coming in should understand, yes, it's Nigeria Football Federation and not Super Eagles Federation. When we understand this and the reform is made and the board members, you're not just having one president who decides everything. We have to carry the board members along, have meetings regularly. Your marketing department have to really be marketing and not just marketing only the groom of the Nigerian Football Federation. Because, I mean, the groom, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they are.
Some purposes are supposed to be the bride, but they're not even the bride. They're more like
to sell the Super Falcons. This is the greatest team in Africa.
It's so easy to sell.
Simple.
It's so easy.
And we have one of the greatest players, Oshwala.
I mean, when you have US, Canada telling us we want to play friendlies with you, you know what that means? It's big, but hey, nobody's looking that way. Yeah, because we have a bride that we're selling. Okay, finally on the program, yes, we're going to talk about Formula One. We won't leave without talking about Formula One because this weekend might just be where Max Verstappen will be winning the title for the second time. It's his birthday tomorrow, yes, 25th birthday, and he's looking forward to having it. But from what has happened this season, I'm going to ask you, Bulu, did you ever think that it's going to be like this? I mean, how many races has he won? He dominated everything. It's like we're back to the era where Lewis Hamilton was all in all. But right now, Max Verstappen is saying that, look, I mean, your era is literally over. I'm taking over.
Well, after 3, 4, 5, 6 races, you could really say somebody else is definitely winning, not Lewis Hamilton, because it felt like started poorly. Remember, it was a few days to the start of the race. They said they were going to change something in the car they already approved. So it felt like maybe agenda, maybe not, but Red Bull started well. Mad Max started winning his races well, and I think to an extent you can confidently say, oh, despite all the drama for last season, this year at least, if you don't rate him for last year's win, you should rate him for his legit win. There are still more races to come, but he's already looking at becoming the champion for next. Now he's chasing Lewis Hamilton's record for most wins in the season. I think he's just 1 or 2 races behind. It shows the dominance he has had for this 2022 campaign. So you may or may not respect him for last season, like I said, but for what he has done this year, you just have to give it to him. And even his teammate Chico Perez was talking about how superb he's been. I say it all the time. The only reason Mad Max won that race last year was Chico Perez's brilliant race in the final race, because it was all about Lewis Hamilton, but immediately got ahead, he delayed him. Well, I think he was my best driver for that final, so he too believes his senior teammate, in quote, Max Verstappen, should do enough to win the race tomorrow.
I mean, Austin, he has won 11 of the 16 races. We've had 22 races here. It's going to be, we still have 5 more to go. We're already talking about a champion. I mean, this boy has been remarkable. He's just, he will be 25 by tomorrow.
Phenomenal, Max Verstappen. What a story. What he did this season was to tell us, those of you that thought I won the season by fluke last year, just shut up. You know, because Lewis Hamilton pushed him all the way, and we saw a groundbreaking, you know, final in Abu Dhabi. And then he took that momentum. That's what we say. When you're winning, sustain the momentum. He took it into this season. And gracious goodness, Max has been on fire. I don't know how to describe this guy. Each time he's racing, you can tell that, look, he's here to prove a point. Don't forget, Lewis Hamilton here to win a race this season. Unbelievable. But Lewis says, look, even if I don't win a race and Max goes on to win, it's not the end of the world. But then it goes to show that Max Verstappen is no fluke. We need to pay attention to that guy. He is redefining Formula One, and he's doing it with so much show of professionalism. He's an exceptional talent, Cecilia.
Obviously, so exceptional. I won't have time to really listen to Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, but both of them are actually looking forward to having a nice race to see if Mercedes can actually finish second. That's what they're now fighting for, not the first position anymore. But there are 5 more races to go, but winner may just be decided this weekend. Bolon, thank you so much for coming on the program.
So it was a pleasure, Riara.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, Austin?
So we're ending this one with speed since we talked about Formula One. Good show. We'll be back again tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to have the NFF elections. I will talk about it in London. I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
And I'm Cecilia Morogbe. Thank you so much. Have a good night rest.